Welcome, Alyssa of Revolt Hair Studio, and we have Dr. Genevieve. Did I pronounce it right, or did I
You
butcher?
did.
Okay. Genevieve of Premier Chiropractic, and they are in Emmaus. So tell me a little bit about your practice.
I opened our office in Emmaus back in 2014. So it's been about 5.5 years. And I first started by myself. And my husband, Dr. JP, was working in Pottstown and just working as an associate doctor so that I could just grow our office naturally and just by, keeping people happy and healthy and feeling good. And the goal was always to bring my husband in, Dr. JP, in. And so he did that for 2 years. And then 2 years later, he joined the practice, which was super fun. And then we focus on neurospinal correction. So we're the only doctors in the Lehigh Valley that has that focus. We also have certifications for perinatal and pediatric care, which is a big passion of both of ours. It's something that I've always known that I wanted to do. Literally, my second grade journal says that I wanted to be a chiropractor when I grew up to help lots of healthy families is what I wrote.
And awesome.
I never really strayed away from that. So it was really special to graduate finally with that and just have my little second grade journal come true. And so it was really neat. And it's something I absolutely love to do. And so by default, we do see a lot of kids and lots of expecting moms, families. And it's funny because then eventually sometimes people will be like, can you see my husband? Can you do things? And we're like, yes, we see the general public and we love seeing everybody. But it is just it's special to be able to help families during such formative years for the spine, and then also changing years for the spine when it comes to prenatal and perinatal care.
Yeah, well, both my husband and my oldest daughter come to your office, and they love you guys both.
Oh, we love
them. They can't get enough. And my husband was just in the other week with your husband,
yes,
Justin, and it's nice that you and I do business together at the salon, and then other parts of the family. But it's nice that it's all inclusive, like you were just saying. There's no, you specialize in this, but that's not niche. You don't see other people because they don't have these challenges.
Right, exactly. Everyone has a spine. So
some people don't, but So how are you holding up while we're in our quarantining?
Yeah, so it's definitely something that if you would have asked me 6 months ago, I would have been completely floored by all of this. So it definitely was unexpected. However, I'm so grateful that we are still considered essential, mainly for the reason of the fact that the number one reason why a healthy person goes to an urgent care or a PCP visit is because of neuromusculoskeletal issues. So we get to help continue to keep healthy people outside of needing the urgent cares and PCP visits, especially at this time with the quarantine. So I'm really grateful that we're able to still operate. Of course, things are a little interesting when it comes to a lot of people, March and April, pushing visits back and stuff, and just adhering to wanting to stay at home and all of that, which we completely understand. But we have done our very best we do adhere to all the CDC guidelines and all of that. So I cannot wait till we can bring our waiting room back and stuff like that. It's just it's super strange not having patients waiting in their car to then come in and go one-on-one and stuff. So I definitely miss, me being such an extrovert, I definitely miss hearing the kids playing in the waiting room and just all the life that's, in our office and stuff. So I look forward to one day having that back. But in the meantime, like I said, I'm so grateful that we can at least still be operating and helping people, because that is definitely just for my sanity too, just being able to go out and see and help people is just a big purpose of mine. And so I'm really grateful that I'm still able to help people.
Oh yeah. And on the receiving end, they're grateful that you're still there to provide that service. So
Yes, it's been wonderful. We've been, getting lots of thanks for like, oh, I'm so glad you can be open and all that. So it's been really wonderful. Yeah. And there's been some positive with all of the craziness of the unknown and stuff. Like I said, I can't wait for things to be back to normal and have some more life in the office.
So you are expecting, when are you due?
Middle of June.
Okay. So hopefully all this shit is done with by then, to say the least.
Yes, that is my daily prayer. I'm like, please. I feel like, because I have a 2-year-old. And so being cooped up in the house during the summer with a 2-year-old and then having a newborn and stuff. And so I'm just really hoping that we can enjoy some things. And my daughter loves her swim classes, which obviously are canceled right now. And it's supposed to be like this summer, she's supposed to do it again. And it's be JP's job to like take her and like do a little father-daughter outing while I get like one-on-one time with the baby. So I'm fingers crossed that swim lessons don't get canceled. It's going to be a good hour a week for me and baby.
Yeah, you need that time.
Yeah.
So I know that you said that your second grade journal was when you wrote down that you wanted to do chiropractic. Is it something that runs in your family? Like, is it your parents also have the practice?
Yes. So both my parents are chiropractors. They met in chiropractic school, and my mom is actually from Canada, from Quebec. And I did not write that down in my second grade journal, but I did end up marrying a chiropractor from Quebec. People, they're always just like mind blown when they find that out. I was like, and I went to Texas. I went to school in Dallas, Texas at Parker University. So it's not like I went up to Quebec to go meet meet him. It's like, it was just so funny how God just placed us both down in Texas. And I ended up having a very similar story to my parents, but we did go to different chiropractic schools. That was the one thing I was like, I'll follow everything. But I was like, I need to go to a different school. I need to do something different.
Yeah, for sure. So what would be the main point of difference between what your parents' practice does versus what you do?
I would say the biggest difference is our focus on our exams are pretty similar. However, our exam is, I would say, is a little bit more specific. And then also the fact that JP and I have our certifications in pediatric prenatal care, they see some of, as they see lots of families. But I would say that our focus that just makes we have a higher percentage of people that fall into those categories. But other than that, I guess I should say my parents also are the chiropractors for the Hershey Bears. So
that's neat.
Yeah. So one day, I know JP would love to be the chiropractors for the Phantoms and stuff. So, but my parents did the Hershey Bears, and then the Harrisburg Senators, which is the baseball team there, and then the Harrisburg Heat, which is a professional soccer team. So they have a little bit more experience with the professional athletes, which is really neat to get to hear their experiences with that, and just how much the players. I always find it really interesting. I share this a lot with my patients, is that the players get adjusted before the game, not after the game.
Oh, that's cool.
And so it's just something like, I think a lot of times people assume it's like, oh, they need a chiropractor after the game, like getting beat up and stuff like that. And it's actually that the players realize that their body performs better for the game when everything's adjusted and when everything's functioning at a higher level than when things are misaligned and then not necessarily, firing at 100%. So they want to be firing at 100% instead of getting corrected afterwards, when it would be more for like pain relief versus performance. And so I really enjoy sharing that, because I feel like it's a great application too for kids, because a lot of times people like, oh, like, why would you see a kid, like, if they're not in pain, that kind of stuff. So I like sharing that example. That's really about function overall, and obviously when things are functioning better, then hurt less too. So it's more of a secondary thing too than the primary.
So would you say There was like 3 questions that I just had, and now they're all like, whoop, gone. Shoot. Oh, so, all right. So if I went like out in public or grocery store and then, I can see hair and be like, she's not herself. Are you like that too? Where you're like, "Oh, that posture is disgusting." Like,
I would say yes, if I'm being completely honest. I try to not be too judgy, of course, but there's definitely things where it's like I walk around, I'll see like in a store, or even like we'll see sometimes JP and I will watch a movie and we're like, oh my gosh, look at that. Look at like how they're carrying themselves. And just like, so yeah, we do definitely. And my parents, it's so funny. I grew up like my parents would like, I remember watching TV and being like, oh, I bet that actor has a lot of headaches, or, oh, I bet he has back pain. Like, just like, different, like guessing what
you can see by the way that their body positioning is.
Yeah, just like I like if you like, for example, if like your head is like this and then your shoulders are curved like this, like you just lost a whole bunch of space here, and so you're going to be much more likely to have numbness, tingling here, especially like if you go to lay down where you feel it, or headaches, neck stiffness, tightness. So versus when something's down closer, like when the pelvis is really souped. I mean, think of a pregnant mom with it's like the growing belly, and then the pelvis just tilts forward to make room for that. But people's pelvises oftentimes are like that even not pregnant, or they don't ever really fully resume back to their standard postpartum. So so yes, we in the grocery store, whatnot, we can say, yeah, especially I think text neck is getting a lot of times people, even parents, will be like, oh, I see my kid like, on slumped like this on the computer and all that. Like, how bad is that for them? So like, we get that question a lot. So I would say that it's even becoming common for parents to start looking at their children's posture and, bring some concerns about it and stuff like that.
What would be like one good hot tip? Because my posture is really terrible. Like, if you can't tell, I'm like, so I'm like, sit up straight. What would be like one good hot tip for anyone who's watching to be like, oh, you should correct it if you find yourself doing this, or,
Yeah, I would say, so I'm going to combine 2 into 1. It's really being like, you need the awareness you can't correct something that you're not aware of. So like, that's always my first goal with the exam, is to create an awareness of that person, to show them like, hey, this is where you're at. This is where you need to be. If you don't know where you're supposed to be, you can't really correct anything in between. So once you've noticed that like, ooh, like that's not so great about that, then I would say that the biggest thing is, one, like we weren't meant to sit for hours without moving. So that is something huge of like, if you're sitting down, especially kids right now with having school online and all of that, and a lot of people working from home, they need to really just honestly put a timer on for like every 20 to 30 minutes, get up, and then even if it's just sit right back down, at least they're changing their position. So their body's not, it's literally called creep, that the ligaments just start going like this, forward, 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 forward. But if you stand up and then sit back down, you're not going to go back to where you were, you're going to restart. Okay. So that's an easy thing to do. But then also a lot of times, so like movement like that, but then also looking up. We tend to look down so much, especially hairdresser would be, I'm sure it's all, you're constantly doing this. So I would say like, think of what you do on a day, for you it'd be this. So like, what do you do on a daily basis, and do the exact opposite because that's okay. So like and that can go to anybody, like, oh, I sit at my computer a lot, or, oh, I'm always doing this and this and this. It's like, okay, well then think of what that is and then do the opposite of that, because chances are those muscles are relaxing and stretching, and not in a good stretch, but in a way that they're no longer protecting the spine. And so it's going to expose the spine to improper movement and maladaptation. So you want those muscles working for you to protect instead of weaken this spinal structure. So just doing that. So like for you, like I would just like, I'd really work on bringing your shoulders back and down, doing little pulses, looking up. And yeah.
Send me a bill after this.
So yeah, so that's definitely, like I said, it's just, a lot of times it's just doing the exact opposite of what feels right because of what you do on a day-to-day basis.
What do you think is the biggest misconception about chiropractic care? Because I know for a while there's like all these arguments about, doctor, not doctor, you know, all these things. So what do you think being a chiropractor is the biggest misunderstanding about it?
I would say, one, I'm really grateful that I feel that that as a chiropractor in 2020 versus a chiropractor in like 1990 even, is a lot different in the sense of common acceptance. I would say that the biggest misconception still would be the fact that when people say like, oh, once you go, you always have to go back kind of thing. So that is really just based on what kind of care you want. So there's people that, you know, in our office that are really truly just want, you know, hey, this hurts here and I want that gone. And then I would say the majority of our patients, though, understand that, you know, it's like I tell this analogy too to people of like, oh, you know, it's like you go to the dentist every 6 months, right, to get a teeth cleaning, but you don't, it's not because you don't like not clean your teeth in between that, right? You have to, so it's like, oh, once you clean your teeth, you always have to clean your teeth. Yeah, because you always use them and you eat every day. And so same thing with the spine, we're constantly using it. And I hear it all the time from just like different chiropractors, like if our spine was in the front of our face, we would care about it a lot more. We tend to ignore it until it hurts. And I think we just take it for granted a lot because we don't see it. And it's just kind of like, you know, I equate it to, you know, I wear glasses obviously. So it's like if I have a smudge on my glasses, it's going to drive me nuts because I know I can see better. And I'm going to want to remove that smudge. And so once people experience with neurospinal structural correction, that like I was living here and now I can live up here instead and feel this much better. I'm going to make sure to not go back down here to the smudge. Right. And I'm going to check in and make sure, because we are using our spines every day and we don't live in a perfect bubble of no stress. And so the body has to adapt to stress and what we ask of it to do every day, especially our current lifestyle of a lot of sitting and sedentary things. Those spinal curves weren't meant to do that. So there's going to be constant compromising of that. So I would say that's the biggest misconception, I think, is that people sometimes are like, oh, I don't want to come in forever. And it's like, you know, my biggest thing is like oftentimes it's like, you know, a lot of times people choose to upkeep everything, but it's done once you're up here, it's done at a much lesser frequency than all the work that it takes to go up here.
Yeah, so you might be seeing someone every other day for like 2 weeks at a time, just to realign everything. And then once it's good, then it's more like a progress report versus.
Yes. Yeah. It's just little check, we call them protection plans. Like our goal is to protect all the work that the body has done to get up there. And so I guess, and, maybe this isn't the right analogy, but I'd say it's like, going for, I like my long hair. I don't want to chop it off, but I want trims. I need little trims to keep it nice.
Absolutely.
Yep.
It's a perfect analogy.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited for my trim one day.
Yes, whenever it is. Unfortunately, not May 7th, but
Nope. I was really hoping for May 7th, but
soon, hopefully soon. That's what we're gonna go with.
Yes, I would really love it to be before this baby is born.
Yes, please. So your office is just yourself and your husband, and then you have a reservation specialist also, correct?
Yes. Yep. Her name's Lori, and she's wonderful. And we're so grateful to have her because she is just such a welcoming presence. And that's what, we really want our space to not feel like a white, sterile doctor's office. We want it to be, sterile, of course, and clean, but we don't want it to be a cold place. And so we're so grateful that our goal is always that people leave our office with more hope and feeling better and things that can, and confidence that their body can heal. And I think Lori does a really wonderful job with that. So yeah, it's the three of us. And then we do have a coverage doctor, Dr. Melissa, coming in for me for my maternity leave this summer. So I'm really excited about that too. So that way we can still keep taking on new patients and not bog up our schedule by going from 2 doctors to 1 all summer long. So
would you say that you would like to keep it just your husband and yourself, or would you be open to bringing on another chiropractic doctor in the future?
Yeah, that's in our less than 5-year plan. So I'm super type A. There's no hiding that. So
What's that mean?
so I'm a big planner. And so that's definitely something that is in, like we plan every year. I make like a 6-month, 1 year, 3 year, 5 and 10 year plan with JP. And so that's in our between 3 and 5 year plan. We would absolutely love to bring on the right doctor. We definitely plan on being choosy and picky. Like, for example, my coverage doctor is driving from Philly to come in and cover me because of the requirements of our peds and perinatal certifications. It's just harder to find people. So we're hoping that in the next couple years that we find someone who would be a wonderful fit to just keep helping our community.
Perfect. Now, I know for us as hairdressers during this downtime, there's a ton of new education that's available for online certifications. Do you guys have something similar happening for your field?
That's so funny that you brought that up. I literally took it. I'm doing my continuing ed, so I did some this morning. So yes, my continuing ed to this morning was on methylation and mitochondria. So yay. But all about and gut microbiomes and stuff like that. So it's super interesting, and I'm only 2 hours in of 8. So but yeah, we have continuing ed some requirements that are due in September. So my goal was to finish them anyways before baby in the summer. However, now it's just made it honestly, it's made it a little easier because they can now be all done online. So yeah. So, and JP, for example, had a flight supposed to go out to Austin in early May. And so now that one's going to be online too. And he's doing his is a perinatal one. And mine, the one I'm doing right now is on moms and their stress level and how the effects of the gut and all that, all the fun stuff that I'm about to learn more about. So I'm grateful that I can take some really interesting classes and stuff. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah.
How can people find you?
So one, I would say our Facebook page and website is probably the best way. Of course, reading up on more. We always offer and start with complimentary consults. It's really important for us that we feel that we run the office the way that we would want it run as from a patient perspective. So to where you don't have to call in and say I'm going to schedule for a new patient exam and then have never met the doctor before. It can be a big commitment, and also just establishing a sense of trust, and that people walk in and that they say yeah, what, this is the right office for me, or it's not really what I was expecting and not the right office for me. Well, then it's great that we got to have that consult to make sure that we can send them somewhere else, or that we can continue right on and be helping them. So to schedule that, it's either done online or, of course, by our phone number. So, and that's an easy Google search of Premier Chiropractic Emmaus, and it should be the number one thing that comes up.
Would you say, or have you had the instance yet of a virtual, we call them connect sessions, but your consultation. So would you be able to do this, and then you can see their posture, and then do it this way, and then plan for, an appointment in salon, in office?
So we could do the consult part online, but we couldn't do the exam. So just because the exam, we use 3 different objective indicators that require exam equipment and procedures that can only be done in our office. But to have a conversation, I actually have been messaging with someone on our office Facebook page that had just sent us an office message and stuff, and is asking all the questions that would typically go on in a consult. So we have done that. And if there's, a request for doing it a virtual consult, we would absolutely honor that. But we haven't had the request so far. I think mainly because of the new patients that we're seeing are from other patients that already come to us. So there's already a sense of established trust and kind of okay, this is if I'm going to go to a chiropractor, it's going to be at this, it's going to be them. So then they, they're willing to go right away. But for someone who's still kind of unsure and has never heard about our office, that I think that could be a really great tool to use.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for spending your afternoon with me. I hope you have enough time to get something else done while Keme is napping.
Kemi's sleeping, yeah. Well, honestly, I'm going to go right back to continuing ed. So more
Excellent.
on methylation and genetics.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, my beautiful friend from Premier Chiropractic, and we'll see you guys soon.
Thank you so much for having me, and thank you,
You're
Genevieve.
welcome. Bye.
Bye.